really uncomfortable when someone tries to hug me. We wear kilts, for crying out loud. There's a reason here. And so I loved when I first got a chance to go to Scotland. Oh, my goodness. I was amongst my own. And it was so great. We had such wonderful fellowship. This is how a Scotsman hugs. Ready? I'm gonna hug Brother Renihan. What? Did you catch that? You caught it. He caught it. He's good with it. That was good. That's my kind of expression of deep emotion and feeling. That doesn't mean that I don't have deep emotion and feeling. We just don't really think it's necessary to express it to everybody all around us, especially when there's cameras in the audience, okay? So I'm not saying, and if you're Italian, please don't wear a kilt. We copyrighted it, trademarked it. It's not yours. Leave it alone, okay? And if you need to keep hugging each other, it's okay. It's all right. We think it's weird, but it's okay. It's all right. No problem. We're not clones of one another. And so some people are called to you might be able to reach people that I can't reach. I can reach some people that you can't reach. It's sometimes an advantage to be Scottish when you're involved in apologetics. You know, people say, how did you put up with that? I mean, that guy was just so mean and nasty. Yeah, an Italian would have gotten up and socked him in the nose. The Scotsman just going, you want some more rope? You want some more rope? Go ahead, keep going. You know, it works. It's perfect. It's perfect. So different kind of people are going to be the ones that are going to be observing me, and they're going to be asking me in different ways, but still there are those Christian characteristics that we all must have, and they are going to ask about the hope that we have. The hope that we have. I learned a long time ago. Is that thing right? Oh, man. Okay. All right. We pick up the pace here. I learned a long time ago, God put me in the toughest position to grow me up. Years and years ago, we lost 60% of our tiny, small amount of funding of our ministry in one day. And I had to immediately I had to be a tent maker immediately just to keep things going, just to keep the family afloat, so on and so forth. And what the Lord did is in an absolutely supernatural way, because, I could not even explain how this happened. I ended up as one of the staff chaplains at a major hospital in the Phoenix area. Now, again, as a Scotsman, walking into the sick room of someone you've never met before in your life and trying to get to know them and seeing if there's something you can do to minister to them, that was tough. That was some of the hardest work I ever did in my life. Really, really, really was. And what made it really hard was on Sunday afternoons, it was a secular hospital, and on Sunday afternoons there was a lost support group. And every other week I was supposed to be the one that led that. Well, the other chaplain was candidating for churches to find a new position. And so in the first 52 weeks, I did 49 of the lost support groups. Wasn't quite an even split. And man, I learned a lot. That was so hard. Oh, that was so hard. But what I discovered, the hospital was fairly close to a retirement area. And so most of the people in that group were widows who had just lost the husband that they had had for 40, 50 years of their life. And one of the things I discovered was that if that woman, if I could not help her, and her family could not help her to be able to look to the future with something called hope, that the future wasn't just going to be this big black wall, but that there would be a reason to continue on, there would be light, there would be happiness, there would be purpose. The one word was hope. If that woman could not have that hope, she wouldn't live. Literally would not live. We saw women healthy when he died, dead in a year, because they had no hope. They had no hope. Hope was the key to whether you were going in an upward spiral of working through your grief or going into the downward spiral of depression, and then the body falls apart and hopelessness. It was all about the word hope. And that is a very strong Christian theme in the New Testament, is that we have a hope, the hope that is within us that is focused upon Jesus Christ. And so that hope is what we're going to be asked about. And the reason we're going to be asked about it is because we have set aside Christ as Lord in our hearts. That has prioritized everything, that gives us direction, that gives us shape, that gives us form. It influences how we react to everything, how we speak. And so the reality is the command to prosapologion, to give that reasoned defense, is in the middle of this holistic, whole life commandment that really is simply a reflection of Christ being formed within us. And that's why every time someone takes that and they go running with it, and you know, some of you back when you were just scrawny kids, when I knew you when you were scrawny kids, worked with us in passing out tracts to the Mormons, and maybe even went up to Salt Lake City with us a couple times, things like that. And one of the things that I would say back in those olden days when we were preparing people is I'd say, I would rather have 5 people go with me that know the gospel, know who Jesus is, can explain what the gospel is, than 50 people that can rip and shred Joseph Smith but have nothing positive to give to the Mormon people. And the attitude of people, they watch a movie, they watch The Godmakers, and they get out their theological sword, and they just want to go get the thing bloody. They cannot point to this text and say, well, it says I'm to give a defense, because that's missing the whole reason, the reason why we should be prepared to give a reasoned defense. That means we do need to think through our faith. That means, I haven't been wasting my life all of these years to try to help other people to understand how we can give a reasoned defense of the faith, and how we need to know about the Trinity and the deity of Christ and the sufficiency of Scripture and what atonement means and justification by faith and all the rest of that stuff. I haven't been wasting my time, but you see, that doesn't exist unto itself. That's the content of the truth. But when Peter makes this command, when Peter directs this command